All right, here is the article 10 benefits of using a credit card. Now, we covered in the story today my history with credit cards, and you know my position now. You know I align myself fairly well with Dave Ramsey, even though I did use credit cards in the past. I'm genuinely curious to see what this article has to say. Okay, this article reads, you walk into a department store, pick a pair of jogging shoes, go to the payment counter, flash your credit card, collect the bill and receipt, and walk out of the store with your goods. The whole process is easy, and it took you just a few minutes. Here, no one has to worry if your bank knows and trusts you to repay the money for the shoes it paid. It's interesting that they say that your bank doesn't need to know or trust you to pay the money back. If you bought the shoes without a credit card, you would simply be using your money that you had in your account from the bank. The article continues. You don't have to go to the bank for a loan and explain the purpose of borrowing money, because you'd need to borrow money for shoes, apparently. Instead, you could use your credit card to spend on anything, pay interest only on revolving credit, okay, and clear your outstanding at your convenience. A credit card has changed the way people shop by helping them have effortless credit on tap. You may have credit cards from several banks, and it is common for anyone to use a credit card to pay for the purchases or service. Well, this article is just going to be making all my points for me, basically saying that you pay interest when you have a balance, and in their words, you have credit on tap. You have access to easily, with almost no friction, outspend your income and do it without even thinking about what you're spending, just like when I way overspent on food. The article continues, you can find almost all banks and financial institutions offering various types of credit cards. They are accepted as means of payment at any place that offers you goods or service. The uses of credit cards are extended to buying groceries, clothing, and accessories, booking a movie ticket, shopping online, buying a home, appliances, paying your utility and mobile bills, and many more. Yes, you can use your credit card to buy anything. Says the benefits of credit cards are innumerable, and some prime ones are. I'm going to take a break and apologize if my English sounds a little weird. I think this article is written in a little bit of an awkward fashion. Okay, benefit number 1, buy on credit. I think that's the purpose of a credit card. What makes a credit card attractive is the credit limit allowed to the card holder. You can buy anything within that limit and pay later. Your monthly budget will not affect even if you buy items of higher value on credit. I gotta stop there and say, yes, you can buy things up to your credit limit. I've seen people who make $50,000 a year have credit limits of $250,000 a year. You could go out and buy cars to the tune of 5 times your annual income and put it on a credit card. Given the interest rates on credit cards, that's terrifying. I don't think that's a benefit. I think that's a drawback. One among the most important benefits of credit card is you can convert the total amount of your purchase into low-cost EMIs to enable you to repay easily over time. This helped revolutionize the shopping experience. Okay, low-cost EMIs, credit cards again, the average interest rate that they charge you on a credit card is 19%. It's over 19%. And I've seen credit cards that charge closer to 30%. I had one that started at 32% when I was on my credit card journey. That's not low cost, that's almost outright thievery. Benefit number 2, accepted method of payment. You can travel anywhere without carrying much money. If you have this card, being the most accepted method of payment, you can use the card to pay anything. Practically speaking, your debit card is going to be accepted everywhere credit cards are. Let's move on to benefit number 3, interest-free cash withdrawals. There are few credit cards that allow you to withdraw money up to a certain limit in case of emergency. with no interest charge for up to 45 to 50 days. Oh, how nice of them. You can make use of it in time of financial emergency. I think the majority of us in America lean on credit cards when it comes to emergencies, whether you use a cash advance withdrawal or not. But using a credit card for an emergency is a good way to turn an emergency, a simple emergency, into a financial crisis. If you put so much on the card that you can't repay it that upcoming month, then the interest that's built up can easily double or triple the initial cost of that emergency. That can be a huge financial setback. That's not a benefit. That's a drawback. On to point number 4. These cards come with reward points when you use them. For instance, IDFC First Bank credit cards offer unlimited and never expiring reward points, which are easily redeemable. It's funny that they have to specify that they don't expire and they're easily redeemed. When it comes to credit cards, there are a lot of reward points that do expire. And there are also a number of airline miles and other rewards that are very difficult to retrieve. I don't remember the exact number, but Dave Ramsey covered at one point how many millions and millions of airline miles go by unredeemed every year. And a bunch of those go unredeemed because they expire. Just the mere fact that they have to bring it up and highlight that their particular card doesn't gives you an idea of where the industry is. On to number 5. Benefit number 5, insurance coverage. You get personal accident coverage as well as comprehensive travel insurance coverage, and this is one of the significant benefits of credit cards, which make them attractive. Okay, accident coverage is interesting. If you have health insurance or a health cost-sharing ministry, and you end up in an accident where you're medically harmed and you rack up some serious medical bills, well, you should be deferring the risk that you can't take on yourself to your insurance company or your cost-sharing ministry. So I don't see much of a benefit to having an accident coverage other than it being redundant. It's possible that they're talking about a liability coverage when it comes to accidents, but again, there are other means that you should be covering your liability in areas where that risk is necessarily needing to be deferred, like liability insurance for your car. And when it comes to comprehensive travel insurance, I want you to think, would you buy comprehensive travel insurance if you didn't have a credit card, if they weren't giving it to you? Let's move on to number 6. Benefit number 6 says, make travel easy. We seem to be focusing on travel quite a bit. I think this is the second or third one. The article continues, the uses of credit cards in travel make them important. When it comes to IDFC First Bank credit cards, not sponsored by the way, they give you a unique experience through complimentary lounge access in airports and railway stations in India and priority check-in. Other than these, you can also enjoy discounts on food in more than 280 restaurants. Okay, I'm going to reiterate a point. If you wouldn't pay to get into an exclusive lounge at an airport or a train station, then why do you need a credit card in order to get in there? It's simply getting you to spend more money to have access to a benefit that you otherwise wouldn't pay for because it doesn't provide you enough joy or utility to get you to actually spend the money to get in the first place. Is it a benefit to get into those places? Sure, but it's a luxury and it's one that really doesn't have too much draw if you think about it. Benefit number 7 reads, discounts and cashbacks. The advantages of credit cards extend to discounts on some of your favorite entertainment and dining outlets, travel and shopping apps, etc. You can also enjoy fuel surcharge waivers at petrol pumps across the country. To check the host of offers, click here. Don't click there. Okay, I got to give a shout out to, I think it's the YouTube channel Cracked or College Humor or something, but there's a series of videos out there. It's like the If Something Was Honest series, and there's a specifically If Credit Cards Were Honest video, where their recurring character Roger talks about credit cards and what credit cards would tell you if they are honest. Roger covers cashbacks and reward points, basically saying that a credit card encourages you to dig a really deep hole, and if you dig deep enough, they're going to give basically a handful of dirt and chuck it in the hole to help you fill it back in, but only after you continue to dig deeper. The point that that video makes is incredibly valid, and it's basically that credit cards get you to spend more money than you otherwise would, and they use cashback incentives and discounts like this in order to draw you in and get you to spend more money. They actually encourage you to spend more money this way. Let's assume you have to spend $1 for every airline mile that you want to rack up. Well, to go on a trip then that costs you 50,000 airline miles, you would have to spend on your card $50,000 before you got a ticket for free, assuming you could redeem it, that would, cover that. That's an awful lot of money to be putting on a credit card. Now, it might take over time, but you can think of yourself if you go to the store, you're in the drive-thru, and it's like, well, I'd really like to go on this trip sooner, and I got to rack up the airline miles, so I might as well spend some more money. Well, guess what? You could have probably afforded that ticket faster, saving the money, instead of digging a hole with your credit card. We're almost done. Let's move on to number 8. The benefits of credit cards do not limit the shopping on credit. Instead, it helps improve your credit score. If you know how to use a credit card and how to make use of the credit period and repay the amount used on time, you can boost your, given this is a foreign article, I'm going to say what I see on screen, CIBIL, is the equivalent to a FICO score. This will help you obtain loans without any difficulty in the future. And they basically, again, make my point for me here. The idea of building up a credit score is so that you can take out more debt in the future. You take out debt so that you can raise your credit score, so you can take out more debt. And you pay back that debt so that you can raise your credit score. And you raise your credit score so you can take out more debt. On our Facebook page, I just posted a comic that I made that basically highlights this point. It's a young adult asking someone who's older than him, so, hey, why do I need a credit score? And they go, oh, so you can buy things that you can't otherwise afford because you won't have enough money. Well, why won't I have enough money? Well, because you're going to be paying your loans back. That's why. Well, why do I need loans? Well, paying back loans is how you build your credit score. So why do I need a credit score? The credit score has had some of the best marketing behind it ever since a Diamond is a Girl's Best Friend campaign. We think in society today that a FICO score is an indicator of our financial success and our prowess. All it is a number for a lender to look at and say, yes, I believe that they are a safe bet. They will pay me back the loan. They will pay interest on my loan, and they're going to be someone I can make money off of. They found a way to identify who's going to reliably make them money, and they sold it to us in a way that makes us think that it is a reflection of our success. It was an absolute brilliant move on their part. But despite what they tell you in the marketing, despite what culture and society have figured is true, a FICO score is not a yardstick to measure financial success. Let's move on to number 9. Offer safety. You don't have to carry much money if you have a credit card. That was short enough. No, you really don't have to carry much cash on hand unless you run into a situation that doesn't take plastic. Basically, you'd have the same benefit of using a debit card, only with a debit card, you can't outspend the money that you have readily available to you. You can't outspend your income with a debit card. But you get all the same conveniences here that they say are associated with a credit card. Let's move on to number 10. Finally, keep track of your expenses. The statements you get every month from net banking helps you check your expenses and plan the repayment without delay. There are other benefits of credit cards, and if you want to know more about them, click here. Don't click there. If you skipped forward to the main topic and missed the story at the start of the podcast, basically tracking expenses in the budget is incredibly challenging compared to when you just have a simple debit card and checking account arrangement. Having multiple accounts that you have to review and track and investigate and hold on to, it makes it harder to budget and actively dissuades you from budgeting. It's not something that I think I would ever recommend to anybody who wants to genuinely track their expenses and take control of their money proactively with a real written budget. I think that will do it for us today on the HopeFilled Financial Podcast. Next week, I don't want you to miss next week. Next Tuesday, I have an interview, a surprise interview with a surprise guest over a very high-profile topic. It's going to be so fascinating, and I cannot wait to share it with you. Until next week, budget bravely and enjoy your hope-filled financial future.